All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are taking Eckhart Tolle's absolute masterpiece, The Power of Now, and breaking it down into a practical chronological guide so you can actually apply it to your life. I want you to imagine, just for a second, living your entire life inside a prison. But here's the catch. This prison doesn't have any walls. There are no bars, no guards. Literally, the only thing keeping you locked up is your own mind. That is the fundamental, mind-blowing premise of this book. Over the course of this explainer, we're going to walk through the wisdom, the knowledge, and the daily application of Tolle's teachings, going chapter by chapter to show you exactly how to break free from that mental prison.
But before we go any further, I really need to ask you a direct question. When was the last time you were truly here? I mean, not mentally running through your grocery list, not agonizing over that awkward conversation you had yesterday, and definitely not stressing about tomorrow's big meeting. Just here, fully present, fully alive in this exact second. If you're struggling to remember, trust me, you are not alone. Most of us spend our entire lives living literally everywhere except the present moment. We carry around this massive weight of 1,000 yesterdays, and we stress out about 100 hypothetical tomorrows. And in the process, we completely miss out on the only thing that actually, truly exists.
And that brings us to what is probably the most disruptive premise of the entire text. Are you ready? You are not your mind. For most of humanity, the mind is this incredibly fantastic tool. But somehow, tragically, the tool has completely taken over the master. We all have this voice in our head, right? It speculates, it complains, it judges, it compares, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's basically like having a radio permanently glued to your ear that you can't turn off. And the craziest part is, you've forgotten that it's even playing. We walk around believing that this constant, non-stop stream of random thoughts is who we fundamentally are. But the truth is, you are so much more than that.
Now, to really ground our discussion, it is super important to understand where this material actually comes from. Eckhart Tolle didn't just sit in some ivory tower and invent these concepts for fun. Up until he was 29 years old, he lived with almost continuous, crippling anxiety and severe suicidal depression. And then, one night, he woke up in this state of absolute dread. He had this single thought looping endlessly in his head. I cannot live with myself any longer. But then, something clicked. He actually stopped and thought, wait a second, if I cannot live with myself, there must be two of me. There's the I, and then there's the self that I can't stand. That one realization sparked a massive shift in him, taking him from severe depression to this profound living peace. He realized he was the awareness behind the thoughts, not the tormented mind itself. It's wild, right?
So here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to build through the book chronologically, starting with the trap, then moving into the illusion, the practice, the real world, and finally, the resolution.
Let's kick things off with chapters 1 and 2, which outline the trap.
The core delusion that keeps humanity locked in its own thoughts is the fact that we identify with our minds. When we mistake our thinking mind for our true identity, it becomes the root source of literally all our psychological suffering. Tolle introduces this incredible concept here called the pain body. Now think of the pain body as an accumulation of old, unresolved emotional pain that basically merges into the semi-autonomous negative energy field inside you. Honestly, it acts like an emotional parasite. It feeds on drama, it feeds on negative thinking, and it loves conflict. You know when you're having a totally normal, fine day, and then someone makes one tiny comment and boom, you feel this overwhelming, completely disproportionate surge of rage or sadness? Yeah, that is your pain body waking up because it is hungry for drama.
So how do we actually escape this trap and starve the pain body? I want you to do a quick micro practice with me right now. Close your eyes for just 10 seconds. Seriously, do it. Now, try not to think. Just wait. Watch your mind like a cat watching a mouse hole and observe what happens. Okay, did thoughts pop up anyway? Maybe you thought, am I doing this right? Or, wow, this is weird. The crucial, game-changing realization here is that you just observed your mind thinking. And if you can observe it, you cannot be it. You are the awareness, that silent watcher in the background. The second you observe the pain body or the compulsive thinker, you break your identification with it.
All right, moving into chapters 3 and 4, we hit section 2, the illusion.
So, having established that you aren't your mind, Tolle goes on to completely dismantle our concept of time. He makes this radical, almost unbelievable claim that the past and the future are just mental constructs. Only the now actually exists. To explain this, he brilliantly contrasts clock time with psychological time. Now, clock time is totally essential. It's setting a calendar invite, it's studying for a test, it's learning a practical lesson from a past mistake. You're using time as a tool. But psychological time, that is the toxic habit of letting your mind endlessly chew on past regrets or obsess over future anxieties. Like if you set a goal and work toward it, great, that's clock time. But the second you obsess over that goal and you convince yourself, I'll only be happy once I finally achieve this, you've slipped right into psychological time. You've essentially reduced the present moment to just a stepping stone.
He also asks us to look at the difference between our life and our life situation. This is a big one. Your life situation is made up of your external circumstances, your job, your bank account, your relationship status. All of that exists in time, and it's always changing. But your life? That timeless, deep sense of just being alive and aware that you can feel right now in your body, that is your actual being. Think about it like this. Imagine someone sitting at a desk. Physically, in that exact second, they are warm, they are safe, they just ate. Their actual life in the now is perfectly fine. But mentally, they might be in absolute hell, agonizing over an argument from yesterday or terrified about a presentation tomorrow. Literally all their suffering is created by their thoughts about their life situation, while they completely ignore the peace of their actual life in the now.
So you're probably wondering, okay, how do we actually live in the now on a daily basis? Let's jump into Section 3, the practice, covering chapters 5 through 7. To find actual workable portals into the present moment, we first have to catch the sneaky little ways our ego tries to fight back. Because the mind's entire identity depends on psychological time, it creates all these strategies to avoid the now. One classic strategy is making the present moment a means to an end. It's that whole I'll finally be happy when I get the promotion, or when I find the perfect partner, or when I go on vacation mindset. Another huge one is unconscious negativity. This is where the ego just feeds on complaining and finding fault with everything around you, purely to make you feel separate and victimized. By calling out these mind strategies, Tolle gives us the tools to catch our own toxic habits right in the act.
Once you know the traps, the book gives you specific portals to anchor yourself into presence. The first one is incredibly simple, the breath. Your breath is literally always happening right now. It is never in the past and it's never in the future. Just observing one single breath in and out anchors you. The second portal is the inner body. If you close your eyes right now, can you feel the subtle energy in your hands or your feet? That feeling of aliveness? That is presence. And the third portal is fully engaging your sense perception without labeling everything. Like if you're washing the dishes, don't use that time to mentally replay your entire day. Actually feel the warm water on your hands, look at the bubbles, listen to the sound of the water. When you throw all your attention into your senses like that, the compulsive thinking just stops.
Now, let's take all of this and apply it to the absolute messiest part of human existence. Section 4, the real world, covering chapters 8 and 9.
This part is fascinating. Tolle argues that a lot of what we call romantic love is actually just two unconscious pain bodies that are attracted to each other, both looking for someone else to complete them. So when a trigger inevitably happens in a relationship, the unconscious response is to get completely swept away. You start yelling, you start blaming, you literally become the anger. But the conscious response, that's when you notice the trigger happening in real time. You think, wow, okay, my heart is racing, I can feel my pain body desperately wanting to lash out right now. Just having that tiny bit of awareness creates a gap. You're no longer possessed by the emotion. And suddenly your relationships aren't just ego traps anymore. They become a legitimate spiritual practice, acting like a mirror to show you your own unconscious patterns so you can finally heal them.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Chapter 10, Section 5, the resolution. This final chapter brings everything together into one ultimate, overarching daily application, surrender. Now, Tolle makes it very clear that surrender is easily the most misunderstood concept in the entire book. People hear surrender and they immediately think it means weakness or being passive or just giving up and letting people walk all over you. No way. Surrender is the wholehearted inner acceptance of the present moment exactly as it is, without an ounce of psychological resistance. It is yielding to the flow of life. It basically means that whatever the present moment throws at you, you accept it as if you had chosen it yourself. You just drop the internal complaining and all that exhausting mental friction.
To make this super practical, Tolle breaks it down into 3 choices. Whenever you are faced with a frustrating situation, let's say you're stuck in absolutely terrible bumper-to-bumper traffic, you really only have 3 sane options. 1, you can remove yourself from the situation. Get off at the next exit, find a different route. 2, you can change it, assuming that's actually within your power. Or 3, you can accept it completely. Put on a good podcast, observe your breath, and just be present in the car. Literally everything else,
Sitting there, gripping the steering wheel, honking the horn, spiking your blood pressure, and mentally arguing with reality while doing absolutely nothing to change it is just insane mental suffering. Surrender is simply dropping that useless resistance.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to highlight this one profound concluding thought from the text. The past has no power over the present moment. Think about that. If you actually apply these teachings, your personal history stops defining you. It just becomes information. It becomes a series of memory traces in your brain, but it is no longer your identity. You realize that you are the silent watcher. You are the deep, still awareness beneath all the noise.
So, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative challenge. You don't need to go meditate in a cave for 10 years to achieve this. You just need to inject a little more presence into your life right now. The literal second this explainer ends, whether you're walking out to your car or making a cup of coffee or just washing your hands, can you give your complete 100% undivided presence to that very next action? Can you feel the air on your skin, hear the sounds around you, take one conscious breath, and step fully into the now? Try it. Because this moment right now is quite literally all there ever is, and I promise you it is more than enough.